Okay, good morning everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So this is our sixth meeting for textile materials development class, and our topic today is what is it? Wait, why it's not working? Come on. Yep. Okay. So this is the what is it? The topic today, the course book and the textbook package. Yeah, after what is it? After talking about the materials, about tags, about talks, about authentic tags, about authentic talks, and also the principles, the component of talks, yeah, and then the principles of developing materials. Now, we'll try to what is it? See the materials as a whole, as a book, yeah, in the form of course book and textbook. Okay, so we'll see the definitions later on. I will talk about the definitions of textbook and course book and what's the difference, and then the types of published materials. So what kind of materials in English language teaching? Materials, yeah, materials in the form of what is it, book already, and then the roles, what is the roles of textbook, and then the goals of textbook, and then the criticism of the English language textbook. Okay, so we'll move to this one first, definitions. So there are actually two views talking the difference between course book and textbook. Richards, what is it, well, here actually the definition from the dictionary, yeah. So this is a very literal definition for course book and also textbook. As we can see here, they are almost the same, but the thing is that I already highlight the using the yellow color here. So for course book, for example, the materials there in the book are for a particular type of learners at a particular level. So now think about, have you ever seen a textbook for intermediate level, for beginner, for what is it, for advanced level, for example? So that is course book. Textbook, on the other hand, refers to those books used in schools and also university levels. So what is it like, for the coverage, for the content, they're almost the same. So that's the first view. The second view, there's an expert saying that both course book and textbook are actually the same, refers to the same thing, and they are usually used interchangeably. Interchangeably, sometimes we say course book, sometimes we say textbook, but yeah, in these presentations, I will use the term textbook, yeah, because mostly I take the what is it, the source from Richards, and he used the word textbooks all the time. Okay, so when we talked about textbook, it is published, right? So the published textbook, last previous in the previous meeting, in the last meeting before this one, in the fifth meeting, I mean, I give you an example of a book, and that is a textbook, and it is published, yeah, of course, yeah. And I ask you to take one text from the book and what is it, and give me like your opinion, which principle does the tags applied, for example. Now those that kind of book, the one that I give, the one that I gave to you last meeting, in the previous meeting, in meeting 5, is an example of a published material. Okay, so 30 years ago, a textbook course meant only the basic students book, workbook, and also teachers book and audio component. Jadi as I think I already told you in my video before, that basically, yeah, at least there are two kinds of books, yeah, teachers book and also students book. Students book are the books used by the students, and teacher, of course, during the teaching and learning process, while the teacher's book is like the guidance for the teacher how to manage teaching using the book, yeah, using the materials in the book, for example. And there is also another type of materials that is usually called workbook. Yeah, workbook, it's like more like LKS, only consisting of some work for the students to answer. So for example, like when we have a student's book containing several kind of tasks, then workbook only contain like questions without any activities there. So only questions and like reinforcement for grammar, for example, and then audio component for listening sections. Yeah, but those are 30 years ago, Richard says. Today, what is it? A new course entails a more sophisticated blend of print and digital materials. So not only this materials, not only students' book, not only teachers' book, not only word component, but also several digital materials. All right. So what kind of published materials are there in the ELT world? Yeah. So the first one is like multi-level textbook series for domestic or international markets. Multi-level. So textbook series, so many kind of textbook out there. For general English, for example, even for general English, some books already provide the level for the book for several levels, like for beginner, intermediate, and also advanced. Yeah, the one that I gave to you, interchange, I think interchange is in the, I don't know, I forget, intermediate or advanced level. So but that is not absolutely not for beginner, yeah. So textbooks like that, and then materials for specific age groups, like for children, teenagers, adults, yeah. And then for specific skills, this is ESP. So for you who join or who take ESP as concentration, so for specific for specific purposes ya kalau ESP ya. Kalau yang specific skills only for reading, writing, listening or speaking. Say for example, one book is only for academic writing. So have you ever read the ones from Alice Oshima, for example? So the title is academic writing. So that is a book only for writing. And then, sorry, that's specific skill, yeah. This is for ESP, materials for specific purposes. So for you who joined or who take ESP as your concentration, so this is the materials that you are going to develop or prepare. And then for exam preparations like TOEFL, IELTS, TOEIC, Pearson, what, I forget the name of the test yet. So like I think TOEFL, TOEIC, and IELTS are the most widely used tests in our country. So these are very very popular here. So say for example, like when you find the published book talking only about TOEFL, so that's TOEFL book for exam preparations. And then references like dictionaries or grammars, self-study materials in grammar, vocab, and other areas. Also graded readers. Do you know graded readers? Graded readers like a book containing stories, yeah, but the stories are graded from the from the easiest one to the more complicated, to the most complicated ones. So graded from using very simple vocabularies to the complex ones. Like it's the same stories at all, but the different level, graded, so the level is graded. Yeah, some I forget. I have actually the example of graded readers, but I forget where do I put those books, those ebooks. I mean, yeah, probably sometimes I need to show you this one, yeah, but not now. Okay, so the roles of textbooks. What is it for? Of course, it's a resource for presentation material, for activities, a source of activities and tasks for the learners to practice the communications and interactions, and then a reference for them to learn about grammar, vocab, and pronunciations, and so on. Stimulations and ideas from classroom language activities, this is for the teacher, yeah. And then the syllabus in which the learning objectives are determined, so we already see the objective and the goals from each chapter, from each unit. For example, a resource for self-directed learning, say for example, like there is a chapter in the book asking the student, so that is a task, one of the tasks, asking the students to find other references, to explore something, yeah, to explore websites, for example, and so on. And of course, the last one, it is the last but not least, yeah, support for less experienced teachers who have yet to gain in confidence. So for those who are, you know, less experienced teacher yet, so the new teachers, they will the textbook, I mean, will help them a lot in teaching, because probably teachers, the new teachers, they do not know what to teach. They have no idea about what activities does the students need, for example. So textbooks can be a good resource for them. And then the goals of textbook. If we talked about the goals of textbook, there are actually two. Whether the textbook is designed, okay, well, now we talked about the book for the school, yeah. So not the book, what is it, not the book, not the other book for TOEFL or others, yeah, but we will talk about the book designed for schools. Okay, now we try to be more specific. So the goal of textbook, there are actually two. When we talk about textbook in general for school level, so materials or books designed for public or state school, and the materials or textbook for private school. Now we will move to the materials or textbook for public school first. Sekolah negeri, state schools. So sekolah negeri here, the materials in those schools are generally produced and approved by the Ministry of Education. Of course, yeah, it's the one like in our country. So have you ever heard the book entitled When English Rings the Bells? Yes, that is the book from the Ministry of Education. That is the best example for this. And then of course the goals of ministry are to standardize the educational objectives, the learning objective of students in our country, for example in Indonesia, throughout Indonesia, and also to provide materials that will prepare them for the standardized tests. In this case, of course, like UN, yeah, we don't know yet what kind of UN will the students have, yeah, next year. Yeah, we will wait for the government's policy then. And then writers are chosen to implement the official vision rather than create their own. So the material writers here, they are already given like the vision and the mission and the objectives from the government, from the ministry, yeah, without creating their own. And then yeah, so thing like this, I once I have an experience, what is it, writing materials under the Ministry of Education. It was in 2018, and then at the time I got like several guidelines. Yeah, we talked about vision and also guidelines already. The ministry already set, yes, like the guidelines, and also what we have to attach in the, or what we have to insert in the textbook that we wrote at the time, my colleagues and I mean. And then yeah, several things like even the characters of the students there in the book. For example, like you know, books for junior high school usually have some characters name or characters, right? So the name like Budi, Andi, and so on are there when they have like conversation with their friends, and at that time, the value, the visions that the guideline that the ministry gave to us is that the names of the what is it? The names of the characters in your book must contain or must yeah, must be from not only from from not only from Java, you know, but also from other tribes, like from Bali, and then from Sumatra, from Kalimantan, and others. So not only Budi and Andi, but also mentions name like Wayan from Bali, or Tengku from Aceh, for example, or what else? I forget the name. Yeah, so things like that, and also include several cultures of Indonesian cultures, not only Javanese cultures there in the book. So that is one of the vision, yeah, or values that the government already set for the materials writers at that time. I know because I was there. Okay, and then for example, like in China and Japan, the ministry already set the guidelines for materials development, like the number. Yes, it's exactly the same. You know, the exact numbers of words taught in each level. So when I was there, when I was in under the work under the ministry, we had one, what is it, you know, like reviewer, and yeah, we are guided by an expert from the ministry, and they and he sorry he told us like to please do not make the text too long or too short for the students. Like for example, for junior high schools, you cannot put more than 200 words for each text. Things like that. So it's exactly the same. Yeah, in Indonesia also we have this kind of guidelines from the ministry. The topics and verb tenses to be covered, of course, it is stated there in the curriculum already, KI and KD. And then types of activities, and then list of approved assessment procedures. Yes, the ministry also have, you know, like guidelines for the assessments, yeah, procedures. Okay, and then it's quite different when we talked about the materials for private schools. When we talked about material for private schools, they are generally more, you know, more various. So not only from the government, the one that is compulsory from the government, but they can also or they also allow for more textbook from global or international textbooks. So commercial textbook, yeah, I mean, yeah. So commercial textbook for private school, um, yeah. For example, I have an example. One of my friends, he teaches, yeah. He now teaches in a private school, junior high school, in a junior high school level, and then it's an Islamic school, international Islamic school. And when I had a conversation with him, like what kind of curriculum does your school have, and he answered like this: we use both the books from the ministry and also the books from Cambridge. So his school used the Cambridge books for teaching, yeah. So because it's a private school, so it has you know, more like freedom to use any kind of book that the teacher wants, yeah. Of course it is still what is it, adjusted uh, to the to the learner's needs, yeah, and to the learner's conditions. Okay, I think I need to cut here because uh, if I what is it, I forget to what to talk. If I continue, I'm afraid that this will be too long, so I will cut here and I will continue to the next discussions later on the next video. Yeah, thank you, and don't forget to watch it.